Welcome back to the program. We had a couple of weeks off on this, but we're back with it. Brian Benyo, Brilex Industries, with us this morning. Brian, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Ken. Welcome.
Glad you can make it out. Tell our listeners a little bit about first what you guys do.
Brilex Industries is a manufacturer of heavy industrial equipment. We manufacture from scratch, starting with raw steel components, and we fabricate, we machine, and in some cases we completely assemble a functional machine. We're doing work in the metals industry, steel, aluminum. We're doing work in power generation, power distribution, wood products, and custom machinery.
So obviously a lot of clients.
We've got a very diversified base of customers that are really nationwide. Most of our business is outside of this area.
Mm-hmm. Where are you guys located?
We're in Youngstown.
Where at?
We're just on the west side of the downtown area, just directly west of YSU.
About how many employees?
Brilex has 120 employees. We also, my brother Alex and I are co-owners. We also own two other operating businesses in the valley. We have Taylor Winfield Technologies, which is also located in Youngstown. They are an engineering supply company designing industrial equipment centered around welding. Processes involve welding and automation and assembly. They employ approximately 140 employees. And then we have Quality Machine in Newton Falls, Ohio, which is a job shop, machine shop, employ 12 people.
How difficult is it becoming to get, one of the things that we're hearing, and just, through attrition, baby boom generation, of course, now retiring, to fill those positions that are needed in businesses that do what you guys do?
It's very difficult, and I think there's some things that are changing that landscape, but I can say that since I've been involved in this business for over 20 years, we've definitely seen a lack of a entry-level workforce entering a lot of the skilled trades positions that support all of our businesses.
Yeah, it's certainly not a situation where we're going to be able to walk in, fill out an application, and get a job, are we?
No, the jobs that we have today are highly skilled abilities to have work experience or at least a high level of training, excellent math, communication skills. All those things are very important.
So how do you attack this?
Well, I think a lot of the work that's currently going on in our region through the Oh-Penn Manufacturing Collaborative, the MVMC on the Ohio side, are definitely part of the solution in getting the message out that there are great job opportunities in manufacturing, especially in areas where skilled trades are required. People are willing to put forth the work to acquire those skills through participating in training programs. There's great jobs.
So how do you convince parents? Because I know, I'm just looking at our daughter for a prime example, who's going to be finishing up here shortly. And what was kind of drummed up to a lot of us years ago, got to have college. Got to have college in order to do anything. You need that degree. So in sitting down and talking with parents, and your message to parents out there that, listen, this is a viable opportunity where, more importantly now, you're not going to go thousands upon thousands of dollars in debt as well. That, we understand that college is the answer for a lot of people, but it's not the answer for a lot of people too, is it?
No, you're spot on with that issue, and I think there's a lot happening statewide and nationally with the recognition that college and pursuing education purely for the sake of education is not an answer. I think I see on the Ohio side there is a high level of connectedness with the understanding that we need to connect young people with occupations, not with education per se. If they need to pursue an education to arrive at that occupation, then that's the path they need to choose. But they need to connect with the idea that it is about a job and it is about an income, and earnings to possibly pay back some of that debt that they may have taken on associated with education.
Yeah, Brian, in doing this for all the years I've been doing it, one of the things one that's a kind of constant from callers, well, we see young people leave here. That's because there's nothing for them. But in all the shows I've done with no matter who it happens to be, whether it's Easy Flow, yourself, and others, I mean, here you have you and your brother have 3 companies, and when you add them up, there's over 300 employees there. Easy Flow with over 100. I mean, it's happening. It's out there. And the opportunity is out there for people. And all this about what we've been doing is to tell people, listen, manufacturing is, although it's not at the scale maybe as it once was with 10,000 jobs at a single steel mill, but manufacturing is alive in this country, isn't it?
It's very much alive, and I think the healthier part of the manufacturing economy in our valleys today is the diversity. And
that's a great point.
The stability that comes through that. We're dealing with small, locally rooted manufacturers that are better positioned to manage their affairs, deal with the ups and downs, and provide stable employment. There's always a cyclical part of the manufacturing economy that's never going to change, but employees that are skilled and willing to put forth their part of the employment perspective have security and have stability, and I don't see that changing.
So the stuff we lost or went overseas, what has replaced that, Brian?
I think the thing that is fundamentally different today is manufacturing is about high value added and high skill level. The low skill jobs have been shipped overseas or automated. The jobs that remain require high skills. Employees must think and act in a precise way with precise results.
That's a great point. So what's out there available for individuals that are looking to get into this?
When you look at the skilled trades needs in our regions, definitely welding. And it's not just welding from the standpoint of a quick 6 or 8 week welding training program, but I'm talking about welders that are capable of demonstrating quality and productivity and skill sets that come through purposeful effort in a higher level of training. Mm-hmm. Machinist definitely our highest level of need currently. There's been a lot of growth in the training programs to deliver these types of entry-level machinist employees to us. We really need, I think, to start to attract some traction with people going into these training programs. Eastern Gateway is starting up a 2-year associate's degree program in CNC machining technologies. Newcastle School of Trades. There are many machining training programs that have really come a long way to meet the needs of employers. We now need to see more interest in some of those trades.
And when you're working with these facilities too, it's kind of, hey, is there a conversation where this is what we're looking for, this is what we need, and is curriculum kind of based upon a lot of that too, what you guys are looking for at some of the places you've talked about, like the Newcastle School of Trades?
Yeah, I can speak probably more so to our career and tech centers
sure.
on the Ohio side and to Eastern Gateway. Mahoning, Trumbull, Columbiana County, and Eastern Gateway Community College have all been very engaged with the Mahoning Valley Manufacturers Coalition in aligning their curriculum in a common way, aligning it to meet industry-recognized credentials. Mm-hmm. So we've taken a lot of steps in the last 3 years to really enhance the level of training and align it with industry's needs.
How far, I'm trying to think of the best, when you were answering that, I'm trying to think of the best way to frame this question. How far off were they on their curriculum prior to in really getting down and working with them much more on this, meaning specifics?
I think to answer that question, I think the biggest change in what existed, let's say 4 years ago.
Okay.
The programs had been neglected by industry. for too many years. Individual employers might have engaged them on a limited level, but we really didn't have the industry voice that we do today with the MVMC to create those changes. The programs today, I would say, are probably 2 to 3 times as capable in delivering what industry needs than maybe where we were 4 years ago. Major change.
So was it a situation 4 years ago and beyond when you looked for skilled people, you looked from outside the area? Is that safe to say or not?
No, I don't know that we looked outside. I think it's difficult to attract that type of employee to relocate. Historically, don't see that. You do see some, but to take that as a model to deal with the local skilled trades gap shortage, I don't see it.
Well, one of the things, too, that we've talked about on these shows, Brian, is the fact that, and I would imagine the same in your companies, too, where you get on the ground floor, able to work your way up, make a decent buck in an area where you can't beat the cost. Yeah, the weather stinks. It does, especially our winters lately. But the cost of living, you just can't beat, can you?
No, you can't. And in the wages, the thing that I see, we employ a pretty equal mix of degreed engineers and highly degreed college graduates as we do skilled trades manufacturing positions. Annual earnings with a lot of our machinists and highly skilled trades employees are on par and in some cases exceed earnings with some of our engineering
Wow.
staff. Yes.
That's pretty cool.
It is. And to your point, the cost of living in this area being what it is, I think these are wages that support a family and allow a person to have a good quality of life.
But just like anything else, this isn't for everyone, is it?
It's not. It is. It does require a certain mindset. You need to be able to thrive in a industrial environment. Although a lot of the shops provide opportunities particularly on the machining side, that things are much cleaner, much quieter. Lighting, appearance of the manufacturing environment today is not the steel mill environment that you pictured from your father's or grandfather's generation.
Yeah, certainly isn't. And you mentioned too the issue of welders, and there's probably a reason for that because it's not an easy thing, is it?
Welding is not an easy trade. It does require a level of physical dexterity and a willingness to endure heat. But yet I see a lot of satisfaction. People we have that have been in the trade for a number of years come to understand that, accept that, and are very capable and take away a lot of satisfaction from the work they do.
I would think too that over the years you've built up a pretty good relationship in what you do as far as quality for your clients as well as others who are in the same field, huh?
Quality today is not an option. Customers' expectations in conformance and consistency of quality is absolute 100%. The days of being able to get by with mediocre quality and mediocre people have gone.
So companies that are looking for somebody like you, did they go through a learning process as well, that stuff overseas just wasn't as good as stuff here too?
We see that. We have customers that a portion of their business model is to bring in equipment from overseas, and we've seen companies shift work back to the States due to failures of quality, delivery, and the difficulty of the time frame, the amount of time it might take to procure the equipment and ship it in. That's definitely a factor.
So somebody who's looking to be part of your company, what can they expect as far as what they need, how long it's going to take them, and then what's available to them after this training?
When we talk about employees at Brilex or Taylor Winfield or Quality Machine, I think our minimum entry-level requirements for, say, a welding position would typically involve, I would say, 3 to 5 years of work experience, starting in a maybe a simpler smaller environment with more simplistic, repetitive welding to grow their entry-level skills. Similar is true with machining. Mm-hmm. Now, we have recently started to hire some employees directly out of some of the training programs, and there are individuals that have that level of capability coming out of those programs. They are the exception, but we are starting to move that way with the improvements we're seeing in those training programs.
All right, so your advice out there, where they should go, what kind of training they should look for, and what skills do they need?
I think first off, they need to really be committed to the training programs that they're in. They need to have a level of professional commitment and understand that the workplace is a serious setting. Particularly younger individuals need to understand that attendance, consistency in following directions, understanding and being able to communicate what they know and don't know, seeking input from more veteran employees working around them. All of those skills are needed for a young person to come into the industrial workplace today and prosper.
And we don't. I know I certainly didn't think of it when I was in school about the need for it, but in what you're doing today compared to years ago, they need a tremendous amount of math skills, don't they?
Math, in just about everything we do, math is a big part of it. We're working most all of our work involves taking a set of blueprints, taking parts, and physically putting them together, or in the case of machining, removing metal to create final features. Math, solid math skills and problem-solving skills as a whole are vital to these jobs.
So what kind of curriculum are we seeing at, let's say, Mahoning County Career and Tech? What kind of, in what you guys do, what kind of courses are students taking?
All of the skilled trades programs at the Career and Tech Centers and post-secondary programs have shop math components that involve geometry, trigonometry, and algebra, to hopefully help develop those skill sets.
Mm-hmm. What else, too, do they offer as far as curriculum for those courses?
As far
as a lot of hands-on, how much hands-on stuff is there?
I know within the Career and Tech Centers that's part of the limitation of the program. There's a lot of state mandated curriculum requirements. They take really the same curriculum requirements as their counterparts in the normal track through a normal high school program. Mm-hmm. They do acquire hands-on skills. I believe they end up with probably about 25% of their time spent in hands-on training, operating machines, welding, doing the work that they're going to be doing in the workplace.
IndustryU.com, what can you tell the listeners about that?
IndustryNeedsYou.com?
Yeah, it's IndustryNeedsYou.com.
Yeah. A great product rolled out by the Oh-Penn Manufacturing Collaborative. I think it's a great resource for young people, for parents, for educators, to get a view into the manufacturing world today, to see what the workplace looks like, to hear from young people involved in manufacturing today, and really get a sense and a feel about that. It's also a great resource with respect to statistics on wages, job opportunities. Really would encourage anybody that has an interest in today's show to get on that website and look around through it.
Do you guys do a lot in your facilities, any type of job shadowing and stuff like that, or not?
We do. We've brought in a number of students that are in Career and Tech Center programs, adult education programs, and given them opportunity to do some job shadowing. Have had private individuals that know through the community that have a son or daughter that are really struggling to figure out what they might want to do once they graduate high school. Have had them come in and do some job shadowing to see what our world looks like.
Yeah, what do you think they take from that, Brian?
I think every individual's different, but really can't pin down one takeaway.
I would think that they have to step back and say, "Wow, this is a lot different than what I thought it was going to be," huh? Because again, we're thinking about I'm thinking about my dad and that generation.
Yeah, I would agree. I think related to that, we have hosted educator in the workplace for the last 2 years. We've had 2 different teachers come in and walk through our manufacturing process, from starting with estimating the job, what do we look at to come up with estimated cost and hours, to actually putting the job, the routing of the job into the shop, and then seeing the work taking place in the shop. And I can tell you, in both cases, those educators left wowed. The opportunity to see manufacturing today, to understand the math, to understand the communication skills, to understand what goes on in our world as a teacher, and be able to translate that back to their students in the classroom, was a great experience.
Yeah, things can be off by a little bit, can they?
No, they can't. They can't.
It just doesn't work that way, does it?
No, it's a very precise business today, and I think them having a chance to see that definitely helps them, and it helps manufacturing.
Where can they find out more information about your company's phone number, websites, as well as more on Oh-Penn itself?
Yeah, I think as far as Brilex Industries, the Brilex group of companies, Brilex Industries, Taylor Winfield Technologies, Quality Machine, all accessible on the web with a quick search. The industryneedsyou.com website we mentioned earlier. Again,
as you said, a great resource, isn't it?
Tremendous resource. The professionalism of the videos that have been put forth there, the staff's done a tremendous job in putting that together. We're very proud to have what we have here locally.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Ken.
Appreciate it, Brian. We'll wrap it up. Coming up next, News Radio 1200 WKST.